I told him not to come closer. My voice said one thing, but my heart whispered something else entirely. What happened that rainy night changed everything between us. And I couldn't pretend I didn't want it anymore. Please don't forget to subscribe and comment. The words fell from my lips like a nervous whisper, trembling on the edge of truth and temptation. My hands gripped the sides of the kitchen counter, cold marble pressing against my palms as if trying to steady my pulse. He stood in the doorway, rain dripping from his hair, chest rising with every deep breath like he had run through the storm just to get here. Maybe he had. Maybe that was exactly what made it harder to breathe. Caleb wasn't supposed to be here. Not tonight. Not when everything inside me was already unraveling from the pressure of keeping it all together. I had just finished putting the dishes away when the knock came. I almost didn't answer, assuming it was the wind or some forgotten delivery. But when I opened the door and saw him standing there, wet, disheveled, eyes burning through me, I forgot how to say no. My voice had said the words out loud. Don't come closer. But my heart had screamed something else entirely. Caleb used to be just a friend. That's what I told myself over and over again. He was the boy next door when I moved to Edgefield 2 years ago after my divorce. He helped with my groceries, walked my dog when I worked late, even fixed a broken porch step without me asking. Always polite, always smiling, always too good-looking for his own good. I had watched him from my window sometimes, shirtless and sanding wood in his backyard, or tossing a football with his nephews when they visited. I told myself I was just looking, that I could watch without wanting. But that had changed the night he kissed me. It wasn't planned. It wasn't anything either of us meant to happen. We were both tipsy from a neighborhood barbecue, sitting too close on my couch while laughing about how terrible the music had been. And then suddenly he leaned in. His hand brushed mine, his breath grazed my cheek, and his lips, soft, warm, so patient, met mine like a secret finally slipping free. We didn't go further than that kiss, but it lingered in the air between us for weeks. Every glance after that was heavier, every casual touch too aware. Pulled away. I told him it was a mistake. He respected it, but I saw it in his eyes. He didn't believe me. Tonight I didn't believe me either. You're soaked, I said, trying to sound annoyed, trying to ignore how good he looked with his shirt clinging to his skin. He didn't flinch, didn't apologize. He just stared at me like he could see through everything. You didn't answer my texts, he said. His voice was rougher than usual, deeper, like the rain had pushed something loose inside him. I was busy. I looked away. I could still taste him on my lips from that night. You said not to come closer, he said, stepping inside, letting the door swing shut behind him. But you didn't mean it. I swallowed hard. My pulse thudded in my neck. I didn't ask you to come here. He took another step, dripping rainwater onto my hardwood floor. You didn't ask. But you didn't stop me either. My body was a traitor. My breath hitched. My knees felt weak. And even though every logical part of my brain screamed at me to turn away, I stayed frozen. I don't want to ruin what we have, I whispered. He tilted his head slightly. And what do we have? Silence fell between us, thick with all the things we'd never dared to say. I could hear the hum of the fridge behind me, the tap of water hitting the floor from his clothes, the thunder rolling in the distance. But none of it mattered compared to the storm building in my chest. He stepped closer. Just one step. If you want me to leave, I will. I looked up, met his eyes. They were darker than usual, shadows clinging to the corners. There was something almost painful in the way he looked at me, like he'd been holding back too long. Don't, I said softly, barely audible. Don't what? I couldn't answer. Not with words. So instead, I let my hand reach for his. The moment our fingers touched, it was like flipping a switch. The heat between us ignited, subtle but undeniable. He closed the distance but stopped just short of touching me again. You're shaking, he said. I don't know what I'm doing, I admitted. He smiled gently. Then let's figure it out together. He reached up, brushed a wet strand of hair behind my ear. His touch was feather-light, reverent, like I was something breakable. But beneath that careful touch was a fire, one we both had been dancing around for far too long. I should have pushed him away. Instead, I leaned in. Our lips met again, slower this time. A kiss without urgency, but not without intention. He kissed me like he had all the time in the world to learn me, like every curve of my mouth mattered. My fingers curled into his damp shirt, pulling him closer until I felt the warmth of his body chase away the cold air between us. We moved through the house in silence, every room suddenly too small to contain us. He followed me up the stairs, not rushing, not demanding. Just there, present, eyes on me like I was the only thing that mattered. I led him to the guest room. I don't know why. Maybe because my room felt too personal, too intimate. But Caleb made even that space feel sacred. He took off his soaked shirt, draping it over the chair by the window. The soft glow from the hallway spilled across his chest, highlighting the lean strength I had pretended not to notice before. He didn't touch me right away. Instead, he stood near, waiting, giving me space, respecting whatever line I might still draw. "I've wanted this," I admitted, voice cracking. "But I was afraid." His eyes softened. "Me too. I told myself I couldn't want you. But you do." He nodded. He stepped forward and touched my hand again, his thumb gently brushing the inside of my wrist. That single touch held more tension than 1,000 words. It wasn't about rushing. It wasn't even about what came next. It was about permission. About two people finally giving in to something they'd buried under months of restraint. We didn't cross that final line that night. Not the way you'd expect. But in every whisper, every glance, every shared breath, there was an intimacy deeper than anything physical. I felt his hands trace the edge of my collarbone, felt his lips press softly to my shoulder. We lay beside each other in the guest bed, bodies close but still clothed, our hearts pounding in the same rhythm. The tension between us never broke. It only grew, wrapped around us like silk threads, delicate and unbreakable. The rain kept falling outside, tapping the windows like nature itself was eavesdropping. His arm curled around my waist, and I rested my head on his chest. I listened to his heartbeat. Strong, steady, real. "I'm not going to rush you," he said into my hair. "But I'm not going anywhere either." I nodded against him. "I think I wanted you here more than I've ever admitted." He smiled. "Good. Because I think I needed to be here." We didn't sleep much that night. Talked, kissed. We shared pieces of ourselves in ways that made everything feel new. By morning, something between us had shifted. It wasn't just flirtation anymore. It wasn't even lust. It was trust. And though I had once told him not to come closer, I now realized there was no one I wanted closer than him. Caleb left just after sunrise, kissing me softly on the cheek before disappearing down the stairs. I watched from the window as he walked back across the lawn, dew clinging to his shoes. The sky was still gray, but something inside me felt lighter. For once, I didn't second-guess myself. I didn't regret the way my voice had trembled or how I had let my guard fall. Because in the end, even though I told him not to come closer, I didn't mean it.